So now how things have gotten interesting now. Oh man, the Eastern Conference playoffs are now interesting to watch now. I'm actually going to look forward to seeing how this team plays out. So the Raptors made a trade. The Raptors made a very interesting trade. They traded away Terrence Ross, a guy who, could give you a good 13, 14 points per game. A guy who, he ain't really a game changer, but they made a trade for a game changer now, and this is something that could definitely make some noise in the playoffs. They made a trade for Serge Ibaka, who is now going to be going to Toronto. Terrence Ross and the 2017 first round pick is going to Orlando. So now the Raptors now have a a presence, a defensive presence now down low, because they had Patrick Patterson starting at power forward, and he's just like a stretch forward. That guy's only a shooter. He don't play down low. That guy, he's just primarily a shooter. He's basically their Channing Frye. That's who he is. A tall, 6'9", 6'10" player, just only known for shooting. But now you have Serge Ibaka, and you give the Raptors a defensive presence, a guy who could get rebounds, a guy who could shoot, and a guy who could block shots. Something that the Cavaliers they're going to have problems with him if they meet up in the playoffs. I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, it all depends on whether the Raptors mesh, because right now they're fifth in the Eastern Conference right now. I don't have much faith in them. I just this the way they've been going so far. What's the record right now? Let me pull this up. The record right now, 32-23, fifth in the East. Last year they were like challenging Cleveland for that first seed in the East. They didn't get it, but did they get it last season? I don't think so. No. Let me look this up. They did not get the first seed last year. Yeah, the Cavs got the first seed by one game. They got their first seed, but the Raptors did take Cleveland to 6 games last year. They did take them to 6 games. That's something that did happen. It's just that the Raptors just couldn't beat Cleveland in Cleveland, and that was their issue. But now you add Serge Ibaka. Let me look up Serge Ibaka's stats, because Serge Ibaka has arguably been the Magic's best player, because Nikola Vucevic has been a letdown so far this season. He has not been what he was last year or the year before. Guy Vucevic has the potential, the talent to be an all-star type of player. But, I don't know what's wrong with him. Here's what Serge Ibaka's statistics are. He's been averaging, let me pull it off, 15 points per game, around 7 rebounds per game, 49% from the field, around 84.5% from the free throw line. So Serge Ibaka has been making his free throws this year. The guy has arguably been the Magic's best player. He's been playing better than he did in the past couple years. Shooting around 39% from the 3-point line. In only 30 minutes per game, doing all of that in that amount of time. So the Raptors, they picked up a very valuable piece. A glue guy. A guy who could start at that power forward spot. And they could give Cleveland issues if they actually mesh and play how they're supposed to play. That's the question. But you look on paper right now, and they're similar to Cleveland. Cleveland don't really got much of a bench either. They got to rely on LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love playing damn near 35, 40 minutes a game just to get them wins, barely beat these average-ass teams. But since brown sexuals like to claim that Cleveland's all that and they the defending champs and they're this, they're that, they're all this, now you guys got to live up to that title, because the Raptors right now, they could potentially challenge you guys for that finals berth if they play the way that they're supposed to play. So they're playing Chicago today at 8 o'clock. I don't think that Serge Ibaka is going to be playing in this game. Probably play next game. But, man, that is a That is a insane pickup. I did not expect this. This is why I love the trade deadline, because you always got some crazy news, some crazy storylines that we're not expecting. Like you get all these rumors that include like Carmelo, Cousins, things that that aren't gonna happen. That aren't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. But it just keeps coming up. It just keeps being rumored. And I'm like, why do you keep going on about it if it's not gonna happen? Like we all know that Melo's gonna stay in New York. He's not leaving New York. Cousins ain't leaving Sacramento. But you got these unknown like trade rumors that aren't even rumors that just happen out of the blue. And now this is something that could be very interesting come postseason. Serge Ibaka, man, that is something. So now you got Lowry, DeRozan, Carroll, Serge Ibaka, Valanciunas. That's starting five. Going up against Kyrie. We're expecting JR to come back. So who's been starting at shooting guard right now? Shumpert, LeBron. We're expecting Kevin Love to come back. It's just Cavs have a lot of injury issues right now. Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson, who is just starting center right now. And I think that's going to be another issue as well. Tristan Thompson being a starting center because, I mean, he can grab rebounds, but he ain't much. He is an average defense player. He's pretty athletic, but I mean, when you now look at the Raptors front court, you add Serge Ibaka along with Valanciunas. How much has Valanciunas been averaging? Ugh. Because Valanciunas is another all-star caliber player that people sleep on. Like he's very underrated. I mean, he hasn't been playing like it this year, but like the guy's only 24. What's been averaging? 12 points, 10 rebounds, 85% from free throw range. Okay, he's played in every game so far this season. 54% from the field. The guy, he's not much of a defender, but he can match up with Tristan Thompson. They missed him dearly. They missed him sorely in that playoff series last year. Now I've been harping on the Eastern Conference saying that it's just gonna be Cleveland cakewalking, but I'm just hoping. I'm hoping these Eastern teams like the Raptors and the Celtics, they're not just regular season floozies. They're not just they're performing well in the regular season, but come playoff time, we're no shows. We're not the same team. Please don't let that be an embarrassment because I need to see something interesting happen in the playoffs this year, man. It's been too long since I've seen the Eastern Conference playoffs be interesting, where teams are actually compete. I think they actually could compete with the Clevelands of the world, and before that, the Miamis. But now, I hope that the Toronto Raptors get this together. They are actually gonna be a team that I'm expecting them to be, because they could really give Cleveland a run for their money. But looking at Cleveland's issues right now with their defense, their poor bench, and the fact that Kevin Love he might not be the same player when he comes back. J.R. Smith, we're expecting him to come back. Hopefully he's able to shoot the way he was before. But hopefully the Eastern Conference playoffs are actually interesting to watch this year, because I'm looking at the standings right now. Cleveland only 2 games above the Celtics right now for that first seed. The Celtics, who have been on a 3-game winning streak right now. The only thing that's keeping them out of first place right now are these losses right now. Cleveland only got 16 losses. Who does Cleveland play next? They played the Minnesota Timberwolves today in Minnesota. I actually see Minnesota winning that game because, the lack of, the big man presence that Cleveland ain't gonna have. But I mean, Cleveland does have Kyrie and LeBron, obviously, but the Wolves are missing Levine. It could go either way, really. Be honest with you, it could really at this point in time, it could go either way. Celtics are number 2. The Wizards. Surprising, the Wizards, who weren't even in the Eastern Conference playoffs, top 8. They were out of the playoffs early in the season. You look at the Hawks, number 4. I don't really see the Hawks doing much in the playoffs. They could. It could always be surprising, but I don't see them doing much. Same old Hawks. I mean, you know how it is. They're actually tied with the Raptors right now for that 4th seed, so we'll see what happens with that. The Bulls have the 7th seed right now. They actually managed to get back in the playoff seeding. The Bulls, man, I don't know what's wrong with the Bulls, too. They're on a losing streak. The Pacers, Indiana Pacers, man, I don't believe in the Pacers. As much as I like Paul George, I don't believe in the Pacers either. That team, I don't believe in them. Just these teams, they look so good on paper, but in the playoffs, they're just such a letdown, man. They're just so hard to watch. The Bucks are only half a game out of the no, they're only a game out of the 8th seed. Pistons, just these teams, man, they're just so hard to watch because I mean they look so good on paper, but it's just the same old story. We're just expecting Cleveland to get back in the finals again, but hopefully, I'm hoping that this actually works out for the Raptors and that they actually are able to implement Serge Ibaka the way that I know that they could, and they actually compete and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do I see that happening? I don't see it happening, but I see them going all the way to 7 games. Don't sleep on some of these, the Celtics and the Raptors. Don't sleep on both those teams. I don't have much faith in the Wizards. I don't have much faith in the Hawks. The Celtics and Raptors. Don't sleep on those 2 teams. As much as the Raptors have been much of a disappointment this year, compared to what they were last year, come playoff time, if they're able to mesh, do not sleep on the Raptors. Now that they have Serge Ibaka. Before Serge Ibaka, I wasn't a believer, but now that they have Serge Ibaka, don't sleep on them. That's all I got to say right now. I'm glad something interesting happening within the Eastern Conference. Something's changing for once because I don't want to see Cleveland go to the I don't see LeBron go to the finals every single year because the other competition ain't as good. But the Raptors, hopefully, they're able to match up with